Galaxy 666 by Pel Toro. Session 62.
Oski, Ishklaw, and Korzak watched the door close behind it. "Now," said Oski. "The plot thickens," murmured Korzak. "The plot thickens until it threatens to set us into a glutinous pace in which we shall find ourselves imprisoned," said Ishklaw. "Once," said Oski, "there were two frogs. This is a tale from 20th century mythology, and they in turn borrowed it from a much earlier epic. Two frogs both fell into a pail containing milk, very creamy milk. One frog gave up, sank to the bottom, and quietly expired. The other frog, determined never to give up, swam courageously around and around in the milk. The action of his gallant little flippers was to churn the cream into butter. To his surprise, he found that the milk was becoming more and more solid. The butter was solid enough for the frog to stand on it and hop out over the edge of the pail. He escaped and lived happily ever after." "What the devil has that to do with us?" asked Ishklaw. "We are in one impossible situation," proclaimed Oski. "We can either emulate the example of frog number one, give up pessimistically, sink to the bottom of this alien space bucket, and quietly die in our gloom, or we can swim." "I see the allegory," said Ishklaw. "The thing to do now," said Oski, "is to decide whether we can trust these beggars and make a deal with them. If we decide to make a deal with them, then we've got to contact Bronit because he is the guarantee of our fidelity. Bronit is our sword of Damocles hanging over their heads." "You don't suppose they're pulling a fast one, do you?" asked Ishklaw. "How do you mean?" inquired Korzak. "Well, suppose that Bronit is already a prisoner, and that we are in the control room, although we don't know it. Perhaps they daren't fire at us here for fear of damaging some mechanism, but the second we go outside, they'll shoot us." "That's a thought," said Oski. He looked around. "Does this look like a control room?"
"Frankly, no," answered Korzak. "It looks more like a mess room. I don't know what kind of relaxation these characters go in for when they're not busy flying and manning their ship, but this looks more like the kind of place you would relax in than a kind of place from which you would control your vehicle."
"I don't think that this is some clever subterfuge to get us out," said Ishklaw. "I think they're genuine." "They have the advantage on us," said Oski.
"How do you mean?"
"Well, they can probe our minds pretty efficiently, and they need only give us such data as they wish us to receive. The frankness isn't entirely mutual. We have to take our information on trust."
"Yes, there's a point."
"A very big point indeed," said Ishklaw. "It means that we're playing a kind of cerebral blind man's bluff with these beggars, and they're not the kind of creatures to play with. In some respects, I agree that they are less technological in their development than we are. In other respects, they are more technological in their development. They're a strange mixture of primitivism and advanced science. Now, what we don't know is whether or not their ethics, their morals, their principles of behavior have kept pace with their technological development, or whether they are more in line with the primitive side of these beasts. Yes, are we dealing with saints or savages?" asked Oski.
"Hardly saints,"
said Korzak. "And not exactly savages," said Ishklaw. "A mixture of the two," said Oski, "as we are ourselves."
"There are some men who are trustworthy, who are as invariable as the laws of nature themselves."
"But the laws of nature are not invariable," said Oski. "Viz. this galaxy, this planet, this particular little piece of the cosmos in which we now find ourselves."
"Agreed,"
said Korzak. "Let me put it another way," said Ishklaw. He paused. "Let me put it this way," he said. "There are some men who are as invariable, as reliable, as we believe the laws of nature and science to be until this galaxy reared its rather ugly head."
"True,"
agreed Korzak. "There are other men," went on Oski, "who are as unreliable and as unpredictable and as untrustworthy as this galaxy itself."
"That's true, too,"
said Korzak. "The point is," said Ishklaw, "that the majority of men fall somewhere between the two. They are neither as untrustworthy and as unpredictable as this galaxy, nor are they as solid, as stable, and as secure as the laws of natural phenomenon." "There's so much good in the worst of us, but so much bad in the best of us," said Oski. "So you think that if these aliens are in any way parallel to us, they're a mixture of primitivism and technology. They're a mixture of good and bad. They're a mixture of saint and sinner, for want of any other term." "This is pretty well what I believe," said Ishklaw.
"Hmm,"
said Oski. He was very good with his hmms, was Oski. They conveyed far more meaning on most occasions than an articulated sentence would have done.
Here ends Session 62.